Your dog can feel sadness, fear, and emotional pain, and you might be the cause without even realizing it. Tiny actions repeated every day can slowly break your dog's trust and joy. No barking, no warning signs, just a quiet decline in their happiness. That's the danger, but it's also something you can fix. In this video, I'll walk you through 33 common ways you might be hurting your dog emotionally and what to do instead to protect their heart. Not offering mental stimulation. Your dog's brain works constantly, processing information and seeking engagement just like yours does. When their mind sits idle day after day, anxiety creeps in first, followed by depression that affects their entire emotional state. You'll notice the warning signs in their behavior. They start destroying furniture, barking at nothing, or retreating to corners where they lie motionless for hours. Mental challenges work like essential nutrients for their psychological health. Puzzle feeders that make them work for food, training sessions that teach new commands, and rotating different toys weekly keep their minds sharp and spirits lifted. That destructive chewing you blame on defiance is actually your dog begging for something interesting to think about. When you provide regular mental exercise through problem-solving games and learning opportunities, you're not just preventing boredom, you're building emotional resilience that helps them handle stress and maintain stable moods throughout their lives. Calling them for something they don't like. Your dog's name represents pure joy to them. It signals attention, treats, playtime, and love coming their way. When you call Max, "Come here," their brain lights up with excitement because they expect something wonderful to happen. But when you use that same beloved name to drag them to the bathtub they hate or end their fun at the dog park, something breaks inside their mind. The sound they once associated with happiness now carries uncertainty and dread. Their trust in your voice starts cracking because they can't predict whether their name means good things or bad things. This confusion creates a dog who pauses when you call, weighing whether responding will bring joy or punishment. They start approaching slowly, ears back, unsure of your intentions. Over time, this damages your ability to communicate when it really matters, like calling them away from danger. Protecting their name as a positive sound protects every interaction you'll ever have together. Teasing them while playing or eating. Playtime is a silent contract of trust between you and your pet. Break that contract with phantom ball throws or vanished treats, and doubt creeps into every game. What you call harmless fun registers in their mind as a breach of reliability, planting hesitation where joy once lived. Moving their food bowl while they eat or hiding treats after showing them creates a world where their senses can't be trusted. They begin questioning whether what they see and smell is real. This constant uncertainty makes them hesitant during every interaction, wondering if you're being genuine or setting them up for disappointment. What feels like playful humor to you registers as betrayal in their emotional system. They lose faith in your signals and start approaching all interactions with caution instead of joy. Real play strengthens your relationship through shared fun and trust, while teasing chips away at the foundation you've built together. Isolating them when guests visit. Picture your dog pressed against the glass door, watching you laugh and share food with visitors while they remain locked in another room. As pack animals, dogs judge their place in the family by whether they're included in group activities. When company arrives and you shut them away, they don't understand why they've suddenly become unwelcome in their own home. This repeated exclusion creates an emotional downward spiral. They start believing they're less important than strangers, that their presence somehow disappoints you. Each time guests come over and they're banished, their self-worth shrinks a little more. They begin to see themselves as outsiders looking in on the family they thought they belonged to. This isolation breeds anxiety around new people because they've learned that visitors mean rejection and loneliness. Dogs who are consistently excluded from social gatherings often develop fearful or aggressive reactions to guests, creating the very problems their isolation was meant to prevent, forcing them into fearful situations. A dog's phobias trigger the same intense terror in its nervous system as human fears do in ours. When you push your trembling dog toward the fireworks they're terrified of, or force them to interact with an aggressive dog, their brain floods with stress hormones that create genuine panic. Their nervous system goes into complete overdrive during forced exposure. Heart rate spikes, breathing becomes rapid, and cortisol levels surge through their bloodstream. This biological response burns traumatic memories deeper into their brain instead of helping them overcome the fear. Forced confrontation with their terrors makes phobias stronger and more deeply rooted. Each time you push them toward what scares them, you're teaching their brain that the fear was justified and the world really is dangerous. This approach often creates new behavioral problems like aggression, destructive behavior, or complete emotional shutdown. Patient desensitization at their own pace offers the only path to genuine healing. Interrupting their sleep without reason. Watch your dog's eyes snap open in confusion when you shake them awake from deep sleep. Their ears flatten back and their body tenses as they try to figure out where they are and what's happening. Sleep serves as your dog's emotional reset button. During those quiet hours, their brain processes the day's experiences and restores their mental balance. Dreams help them work through stress and file away memories properly. When you jar them awake unnecessarily, you're cutting short this crucial healing time. That sudden awakening floods their system with adrenaline and stress hormones. Their fight-or-flight response kicks in. Even though no real danger exists, their heart pounds and breathing quickens as they scan for threats that aren't there. Dogs whose sleep is interrupted regularly become chronically stressed and irritable. They lose their ability to rest deeply, staying partially alert even during sleep. This creates anxious, tired dogs who can't regulate their emotions properly, ignoring signs of physical discomfort. That persistent ear scratch or paw lick is a flashing signal flare. Ignore it and minor irritation mutates into chronic pain that warps mood and behavior. What looks like stubbornness or bad temper is often an unaddressed wound demanding your attention. Head shaking often signals ear infections or mites causing intense itching inside their ears. Excessive licking of paws or legs indicates allergies, cuts, or joint pain. Constant scratching at the same spot suggests fleas, skin infections, or allergic reactions that create burning sensations on their skin. When these warning signs go unnoticed, minor discomfort transforms into chronic pain that affects their mood and behavior. The emotional stress of living with untreated pain changes their personality completely. Many aggressive outbursts, destructive behaviors, or sudden personality changes actually stem from physical pain they can't express. That snappy behavior or withdrawal isn't attitude. It's their way of saying something hurts. Shouting at them frequently. Dogs hear frequencies much higher than humans can detect, making your raised voice physically painful to their sensitive ears. When you yell, the sound waves hit their eardrums with intensity that creates genuine discomfort, like someone screaming directly into your ear through a megaphone. Yelling triggers their stress response immediately. Their heart rate spikes, breathing becomes shallow, and cortisol floods their system. But this biological panic teaches them nothing about what behavior you actually want from them. They simply learn to fear your voice and unpredictable moods. Dogs who get yelled at regularly develop chronic anxiety because they never know when the next outburst will come. They start walking on eggshells around you, constantly watching your face and body language for signs of incoming anger. This persistent fear often transforms into full anxiety disorders and depression. These dogs become either completely withdrawn or desperately eager to please, both responses stemming from living in emotional terror of your voice. Using physical punishment or intimidation. Physical punishment shatters the trust that forms the foundation of your relationship with your dog. When you hit, shove, or use intimidating body language, you transform yourself from protector into threat in their mind. Dogs who experience physical punishment follow one of two devastating paths. Some become aggressive, learning that violence solves problems, and turning that lesson on other dogs or people. Others shut down completely, becoming shadows of their former selves who cower and tremble at sudden movements. Intimidation tactics might produce immediate compliance, but disobedience stems from terror, not understanding, or respect. Your dog follows commands because they fear what happens if they don't, not because they trust your guidance. Physical punishment typically worsens the exact behaviors you're trying to stop. Fear and stress make dogs more reactive, not less. Your hands should represent safety, comfort, and love in their world, never pain or fear. Not letting them explore on walks. Sniffing and investigating their surroundings is how dogs gather information about their world. Every scent tells a story. Which dogs pass by, what they ate, their emotional state, and where they've been. When you constantly pull them away from these investigations, you're cutting off their primary way of understanding their environment. Walks represent your dog's daily newspaper and entertainment rolled into one. That fire hydrant holds messages from neighborhood dogs, and those bushes contain updates about local wildlife activity. Rushing them past these information sources leaves them mentally starved and emotionally frustrated. Dogs who get hurried through walks return home unsatisfied, even after physical exercise. They've burned calories but haven't engaged their minds or satisfied their natural curiosity. This mental emptiness often leads to restless behavior and attention-seeking at home. Walk time belongs to them, not your schedule. Those few extra minutes of sniffing can transform a simple exercise routine into rich mental stimulation that keeps them emotionally balanced. Rejecting their affection. Watch your dog's face fall when you push them away as they lean in for cuddles or try to rest their head on your lap. Their ears drop back and their eyes show genuine confusion as they try to understand why their love isn't wanted. Giving affection feeds dogs emotionally just as much as receiving it does. When they nuzzle against you or bring you their favorite toy, they're offering pieces of their heart. Pushing away these gestures tells them their love has no value. Consistent rejection of their affectionate advances creates emotional wounds that compound over time. They start believing something is wrong with them or that they're bothering you by caring. Eventually, they stop trying to connect altogether, keeping their distance to avoid more rejection. Dogs who can't express their natural affection often retreat into themselves, becoming distant and depressed. When you accept their love, you're actually giving them the gift of feeling needed and valued. Ignoring them after a baby arrives. Your dog doesn't understand why their entire world flipped upside down overnight. Yesterday, they were your constant companion, getting belly rubs and morning cuddles. Today, they watch from across the room as you pour all your attention into a tiny human who can't even play fetch. This dramatic shift from being the center of your universe to becoming invisible creates deep emotional confusion. They wonder what they did wrong to lose your love so suddenly. The dog who once got excited morning greetings now receives quick pats while you rush to feed the baby. This abrupt change in attention often triggers depression and destructive behaviors. They might start chewing furniture, having accidents indoors, or barking excessively to get noticed. Including them in baby activities by letting them sit nearby during feeding time or taking family walks together helps them adjust to their new role as a big sibling rather than a forgotten pet. Removing food or treats while they eat. Mealtime represents your dog's most vulnerable moment when their survival instincts run deepest. In the wild, eating required complete focus to avoid losing food to competitors or predators. This ancient programming still drives their need for security during meals. When you reach for their bowl or snatch treats from their mouth, their brain signals immediate danger. Stress hormones flood their system as they wonder if their next meal is guaranteed. This interruption triggers protective behaviors that seem aggressive but actually stem from fear of starvation. This constant mealtime anxiety can evolve into broader eating disorders and generalized stress. Respecting their eating time shows respect for their most basic survival need. Cutting their ears or tail for aesthetics. Puppies as young as 7 weeks old endure painful surgeries that slice through cartilage and bone purely to satisfy human beauty standards. Ear cropping involves cutting away natural ear flaps and forcing them to stand upright through weeks of taping. Tail docking removes portions of the spine itself, severing nerves and muscles. These procedures offer zero medical benefits while causing intense physical agony during the most critical development period of their lives. Pain medications can't fully block the trauma of having body parts amputated. The emotional impact includes fear of handling and touch that can last forever. Cropped ears and docked tails also damage their ability to communicate properly with other dogs. Natural ear and tail positions convey important emotional signals that help prevent conflicts and misunderstandings. Many countries, including Germany, Australia, and the United Kingdom, have banned these surgeries as unnecessary cruelty, recognizing that cosmetic mutilation has no place in responsible pet ownership. Using the crate as a punishment. Crates should serve as your dog's personal sanctuary where they retreat when feeling overwhelmed or tired. This enclosed space represents safety and comfort in their mind, like a bedroom where they can relax without worry. When you force them into their crate after they've done something wrong, you poison this safe haven with negative emotions. Their brain starts connecting their refuge with your anger and disappointment. The place they once sought for comfort now triggers anxiety and fear. This association destroys their natural ability to calm themselves down during stressful situations. Instead of having a reliable comfort zone to retreat to, they lose their emotional anchor. Dogs need secure spaces where they can process their feelings and restore their mental balance. Preserving their crate as a positive space maintains their emotional stability and gives them a tool for self-regulation throughout their lives. Not spending one-on-one time daily. Your dog sits by the front door every evening, ears perked and tail ready to wag, hoping tonight will be the night you choose them over your phone or television. They crave those precious moments when your attention belongs completely to them, when nothing else exists except your shared connection. Dogs treasure focused interactions more than anything else in their world. When you scroll through your phone while petting them or talk on the phone during their walk, they feel your divided attention. This makes them feel invisible and unimportant, like background noise in your busy life. Just 10 minutes of genuine focus can completely transform their emotional state for the entire day. Eye contact during training, belly rubs without distractions, or simply sitting together creates deep satisfaction in their hearts. Quality time serves as the primary currency of love in their emotional world, showing them they matter enough to earn your complete attention. Changing their routine abruptly. Dogs build their sense of security around predictable daily patterns. They expect breakfast at 7 a.m., walks at noon, and dinner at 5 p.m. These consistent schedules create emotional stability in their world, letting them know what comes next and when to anticipate good things. When you constantly shift their feeding times, skip walks randomly, or change household rules without warning, their emotional foundation crumbles. Their stress levels spike because they can't predict when basic needs will be met. This uncertainty triggers their survival instincts, keeping them in a state of anxious alertness. Inconsistent routines often lead to behavioral problems like excessive barking, destructive chewing, or accidents in the house. Dogs with constantly changing schedules frequently develop generalized anxiety disorders because they never feel secure about what's coming next. Your consistency serves as their emotional anchor in an unpredictable world, giving them the stability they need to feel safe and content. Laughing at or mocking their expressions. A trembling body under the table isn't comedic gold. It's a live broadcast of fear begging for comfort. Pointing a phone at that distress teaches them that vulnerability is entertainment. Empathy, not amusement, is the response they need. Dogs express their emotions through completely honest facial expressions and body language. When they flatten their ears, tuck their tail, or show the whites of their eyes, they're communicating genuine feelings that deserve respect, not ridicule. These signals represent their primary language for sharing their inner emotional state with you. When you laugh at their fearful expressions or mock their anxious body language, you teach them that their emotions don't matter. They learn to suppress their natural communication attempts because expressing feelings only brings mockery instead of understanding. Dogs who are consistently laughed at during vulnerable moments often shut down emotionally. They stop showing their true feelings and become withdrawn, losing their willingness to communicate their needs through their natural expressions, subjecting them to emotional outbursts. Dogs function like emotional sponges, soaking up every bit of tension and chaos from their surroundings. When you slam doors, scream during arguments, or throw objects in anger, your dog's nervous system immediately mirrors your emotional state. Their stress response activates the moment your voice rises or objects crash to the floor. Heart rate increases, breathing becomes rapid, and stress hormones flood their bloodstream. They don't understand what caused your outburst, but their bodies react as if they're in immediate danger. Living with frequent emotional chaos creates chronic anxiety in dogs. They develop hypervigilance, constantly watching for signs of the next explosion. This persistent stress often leads to destructive behaviors, excessive barking, or complete withdrawal from family interactions. Your emotional regulation directly influences their mental stability. When you manage your reactions calmly, you create a peaceful environment where they can relax and feel secure. Removing their favorite spots or toys, dogs develop profound emotional bonds with specific objects and locations that provide comfort during stressful moments. That worn tennis ball or favorite blanket carries their scent and memories of good times, functioning like a security blanket for anxious children. When you suddenly remove their beloved toy for washing or relocate their favorite sleeping spot without warning, their world becomes unpredictable. They search frantically for these comfort items, whining and pacing as they try to understand where their security went. This disruption shakes their emotional foundation because they depend on these familiar objects to self-soothe during overwhelming situations. Without their comfort items, they lose their primary coping mechanism for managing stress and anxiety. Dogs who repeatedly lose their treasured possessions often develop separation anxiety, fearing that important things in their life will disappear without notice. Their emotional attachments deserve the same consideration you'd give a child's favorite stuffed animal. Putting uncomfortable clothes on them. Watch your dog's awkward gait as tight sleeves restrict their shoulder movement or stiff fabric prevents them from sitting naturally. Their body language screams discomfort as they try to navigate the world while wrapped in materials that feel completely foreign. Dogs rely on their skin and fur to sense temperature changes, air currents, and environmental textures. When you cover them with synthetic fabrics, you're blocking their natural sensory system and creating confusion about their surroundings. Their fur already provides perfect insulation designed by nature for their specific needs. Restrictive clothing creates both physical discomfort and emotional stress. They can't scratch properly, stretch fully, or move with their natural grace. This constant irritation keeps their stress levels elevated throughout the day. Dogs who get dressed up frequently often develop learned helplessness, standing motionless, while you force clothing on them because they've given up resisting. Your entertainment shouldn't come at the cost of their physical comfort and emotional well-being. Forcing social interactions with people or dogs. Dogs have individual personalities that determine their comfort levels with strangers and other animals. Some dogs love meeting everyone they encounter, while others prefer keeping their social circles small and predictable. When you push your nervous dog toward an eager stranger or force them to greet an unfamiliar dog, their anxiety skyrockets. Their body tenses, breathing becomes shallow, and they start looking for escape routes. This stress response burns negative associations deeper into their memory about social encounters. Forced socialization backfires completely, making shy dogs even more fearful of new interactions. Each push greeting teaches them that meeting others brings discomfort and stress. Their brain learns to expect bad things from social situations. Dogs who get pushed too hard socially often develop reactive behaviors like barking, lunging, or snapping when they see strangers approaching. This reactivity stems from their desperate attempt to keep scary social interactions from happening again. Keeping the same toys without variety. A toy box that never changes becomes as dull as yesterday's newspaper. Dogs need mental novelty to keep their brains active and engaged. When they encounter the same toys day after day, their minds stop working to figure out new ways to interact with these familiar objects. This mental stagnation leads to boredom that affects their entire emotional state. Toy boredom often triggers destructive behaviors like chewing furniture or digging holes in the yard. They're desperately seeking mental stimulation that their worn-out toys can't provide anymore. Rotating toys weekly or introducing puzzle feeders gives their minds the variety they crave for emotional wellness, not allowing them to just be dogs. Dogs carry thousands of years of ancestral programming in their DNA that drives behaviors like digging, sniffing, chasing, and exploring. These instincts connect them to their wolf heritage and satisfy deep psychological needs that house rules can't eliminate. When you constantly stop them from digging holes, sniffing during walks, or chasing moving objects, you're fighting against their fundamental nature. This suppression creates intense frustration because their brains are wired to perform these behaviors for mental and emotional satisfaction. Blocked natural instincts often resurface as behavioral problems. Dogs who can't dig outside might destroy carpets. Those denied proper sniffing time become restless and destructive at home. Their bodies need outlets for these hardwired behaviors to maintain emotional balance. Creating appropriate channels for their instincts works better than complete suppression. Designate digging areas in your yard or provide snuffle mats for indoor foraging. Honoring their nature while setting boundaries creates harmony for everyone. Overreacting to small mistakes. A puddle on the carpet is yesterday's bladder and today's opportunity to teach calmly. Dogs master new skills through trial and error, making mistakes a natural part of their learning journey. When they have an accident or chew the wrong item, their brain is still figuring out the rules of your household. These errors don't stem from defiance or spite. Explosive reactions to minor accidents flood their system with fear and confusion. They can't connect your anger to their mistake because dogs live in the moment. Your dramatic response teaches them that you're unpredictable and scary, not that they shouldn't repeat the behavior. This fear of making mistakes paralyzes their willingness to explore and learn new things. Dogs who get screamed at for accidents often become anxious and withdrawn. Patience with their learning process demonstrates your love and builds their confidence to keep trying. Ignoring their excitement when you come home. Your return represents the absolute peak of your dog's entire day. They've been counting the minutes since you left, listening for your car in the driveway, and watching for your familiar silhouette through the window. When that door finally opens, their whole world lights up with pure happiness. When you walk past their enthusiastic greeting without acknowledgement, their joy crashes into confusion and hurt. Those excited jumps and tail wags represent their honest expression of love, and your indifference tells them their feelings don't matter. They wonder why their greatest moment gets ignored while they're bursting with happiness to see you. Repeated dismissal of their greetings teaches them to stop getting excited about your return. They learn that showing joy leads to rejection, so they retreat emotionally to protect themselves from disappointment. Acknowledging their excitement validates the depth of their love for you, constantly controlling when they can be touched. Dogs need some degree of choice over their physical interactions to maintain emotional balance. When you decide every moment of contact, grabbing them for forced cuddles or petting them despite their body language saying no, you strip away their sense of personal control. When dogs never get to initiate touch or politely refuse unwanted handling, they develop feelings of complete powerlessness over their own bodies. This lack of autonomy creates stress because they can't predict or control when physical contact will happen. Their nervous system stays on alert, never knowing when someone might grab or pet them. Dogs who experience total control over their touch often swing between two extremes. Some become desperately clingy, seeking constant contact because they fear losing all affection. Others become completely avoidant, withdrawing from all physical interaction to protect themselves. Consent exists in the animal world too, and respecting their subtle signals builds trust and emotional security. Excluding them from family moments. Your dog watches through the doorway as everyone gathers around the birthday cake, singing and laughing, while they remain banished to another room. Their ears droop as they witness the joy they're not allowed to share. Dogs consider themselves complete family members with equal standing in the household pack. When special celebrations happen without them, they experience genuine emotional pain from being treated like outsiders in their own home. They don't understand why sudden invisible barriers appear during the happiest family times. Exclusion from birthdays, holidays, and gatherings creates deep feelings of rejection and abandonment. They watch the people they love most celebrate together while they sit alone, wondering what they did wrong to deserve isolation during these important moments. Including them in celebrations actually multiplies the happiness for everyone involved, creating shared memories that strengthen family bonds rather than breaking them, taking away their autonomy completely. Dogs need the freedom to make simple choices throughout their day to maintain emotional wellness. Deciding which path to take during walks, choosing where to nap, or selecting which toy to play with gives them a sense of control over their environment. When you micromanage every moment of their existence, forcing them to sit in specific spots, controlling every step they take, and making all decisions for them, their spirit begins to break down. This complete control creates learned helplessness, where they stop trying to make any choices because nothing they want matters. Dogs without any decision-making power often develop severe anxiety and depression. They become passive and withdrawn, waiting for instructions instead of showing natural curiosity or initiative. Their personality fades as they learn that their preferences hold no value. Some freedom to explore and choose remains essential for their emotional health and mental development. Failing to understand their communication. Dogs speak through a complex vocabulary of body language signals that most owners completely miss. Tail tucks signal fear and anxiety, while yawns during training indicate stress, not tiredness. Lip licks mean nervousness, and whale eyes showing the whites warns of discomfort or fear. When you consistently miss these emotional signals, your dog feels completely invisible and unheard. They're desperately trying to tell you how they feel, but their messages disappear into silence. This communication breakdown creates deep frustration because they have no other way to express their needs. Failed communication often triggers behavioral problems like excessive barking, destructive chewing, or aggressive reactions. These behaviors represent their last resort attempts to get your attention when subtle signals fail repeatedly. Dogs who feel constantly misunderstood eventually give up trying to communicate altogether. They withdraw emotionally and stop sending signals because experience taught them nobody listens anyway. Learning their language opens the door to understanding their heart, reacting with sarcasm or disdain when they seek attention. Dogs approach every relationship with complete emotional honesty and vulnerability. When they nudge your hand for pets or bring you their favorite toy, they're opening their hearts and asking for connection with pure sincerity. When you respond to their genuine need for love with eye rolls, sarcastic comments, or dismissive gestures, you crush something precious inside them. Their innocent request for affection gets met with mockery instead of warmth. This rejection cuts deep because they don't understand sarcasm or humor at their expense. Sarcastic responses to their attention-seeking make them feel unwanted and foolish for caring. They start questioning whether their love has any value at all. Dogs who face consistent mockery when seeking affection often retreat emotionally to protect themselves from further humiliation. Eventually, they stop approaching you altogether because experience taught them that asking for love brings ridicule instead of connection. Their sincere need for affection deserves respect and kindness, not offering a window to the world. Windows serve as your dog's personal television, newspaper, and entertainment center all rolled into one. They watch squirrels chase each other, observe neighbors walking by, and track delivery trucks making their rounds. This visual stimulation provides hours of mental engagement that keeps their minds active and alert. When you block their access to windows or keep them in rooms without outside views, you cut off their primary source of environmental enrichment. Dogs denied visual access to the outside world often develop severe boredom that manifests as destructive behavior, excessive sleeping, or withdrawn personality changes. This lack of environmental stimulation creates depression in many dogs because they lose their connection to the dynamic world beyond your walls. Studies show that dogs with regular window access display significantly better mental health, reduced anxiety levels, and more balanced emotional states than those kept in windowless spaces. A simple view outside opens a window to happiness. Giving up on them without trying. Dogs create lifelong emotional bonds with their families and expect that same unwavering loyalty in return. When you surrender them to shelters or rehome them without addressing behavioral issues, you shatter their understanding of love and commitment. The emotional trauma of abandonment creates lasting psychological scars that affect every future relationship they attempt. Dogs who get given up often develop severe depression, refusing to eat or interact with new people. Trust issues follow them for years because their brain learned that even the people who promise to love them forever eventually leave. Most behavioral problems can be solved with consistent training, proper exercise, and professional help. Aggression, destructive behavior, and anxiety respond well to patient intervention when owners commit to the process. Giving up on them breaks something deep inside their spirit that never fully heals, leaving them wondering what they did wrong to lose their first family. If this story changes the way you look at the silent signals your dog sends every day, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the emotional depths that often go unnoticed. Let's nurture a better future for our companions. The next treasure of knowledge will be revealed soon.